Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the weekend preview for the 2019 Spanish Grand Prix. Now, I'll be completely honest, this isn't generally a race I tend to look forward to as it can get a little bit processional at times. And looking back to last year, although there were some interesting moments, it was pretty much your standard Spanish Grand Prix. It was a race of utter dominance from Lewis Hamilton, and that was right from the start. We did get some drama though on the first lap after Romain Grosjean lit up his rear tyres, spun across the track and wiped out both Nico Hülkenberg and Pierre Gasly. Fernando Alonso entertained us with a couple of really good moves, one around the outside of Esteban Ocon at turn 3, and aside from some retirements due to mechanical issues, some strategy intrigue, and Max Verstappen tapping the back of a Williams at the virtual safety car restart, that was pretty much it. Like I said though, a dominant drive from Lewis Hamilton, who had already taken pole position on Saturday and never looked back. His teammate Valtteri Bottas made it a Mercedes 1-2 with Max Verstappen rounding off the podium for Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo managed to set the fastest lap with a time of 1:18.441 on lap 61, and there were 14 finishes in the race, but only 5 were on the lead lap. Classic Spain. Thanks to it also hosting pre-season testing, it is a circuit that teams and drivers know very, very well, of course. The track length is 4.655 kilometres, or if you prefer that in miles, that is 2.892. There are 16 corners around Barcelona, that is 7 to the left and 9 to the right, and there will be 66 race laps on Sunday. Just the 2 DRS zones confirmed at time of recording, the first being between turns 9 and 10 and the second down the start-finish straight. And the race lap record is a 1:18.441, and that was set by Daniel Ricciardo last year. According to Mercedes, the run from pole to turn 1 is 739.5 metres, with a total pit lane lost time at 80 kilometres an hour of around 16.5 seconds. The highest lateral G is at turn 9, and that comes in at 4.2, and drivers are at full throttle for 51% of the lap. Overtaking is tough in Spain, but it is possible. Turn 1 certainly offers up the best opportunity, with turn 10 also a very good option. Both, of course, are preceded by DRS zones, so that will inevitably have some kind of impact. We have seen moves in turn 4 and 5 in the past, but it does get really tight through 5, and 4 is a fairly quick corner, to be fair. The final chicane is, quite frankly, far too tight for anyone to make a move, but that doesn't mean we won't see some drivers try. And as Fernando Alonso showed last year, overtaking is possible through turn 3, but it is a huge risk to take. I'm sure somebody will give it a go though. So the first race around the circuit to Barcelona was back in 1991, and since then we've obviously had a total of 28 races held there. In that time, we've seen 16 different drivers take victory, with the first winner being Nigel Mansell for Williams and the latest Lewis Hamilton. The pole sitter has gone on to win 21 times over the years, but has only retired on 3 occasions. That's an impressive stat. The average winning margin around Spain is just over 9.3 seconds, with the biggest being 51.9 seconds and the smallest being just over 6 tenths. The safety car doesn't tend to make too many appearances, with it being deployed at just 6 of the 28 Grand Prix in Barcelona, and the fastest ever lap around the track was a 1:16.173, and that was of course set by Lewis Hamilton last year on his way to pole position. Thank you, as always, to Lights Out Blog for providing some of the stats for this preview. If you are interested in a more in-depth look at some Spanish stats, you can check out their website and give them a follow over on Twitter. The tyre compounds available for this weekend are the hard C1, the medium C2 and the soft C3, with Pirelli rating the tyre stress around Spain at 4 out of 5, with asphalt grip being 4 and abrasion at 3. And when it comes to strategy, no great surprise, last year's race was one with a comfortable one-stopper, but Pirelli have said that by taking the 3 hardest compounds, drivers should be able to push harder, and there shouldn't need to be much, if any, pace management. However, we all know that that means drivers will try to stretch out each stint as far as possible, and it will just be another one-stop race. The race is also set to be warm, sunny and dry, with less than a 5% chance of rain across the weekend. Of course, that could easily all change between now and Sunday, but at the moment it doesn't look as though the rain will come into play when it comes to race strategy. Spain is a significant weekend on the F1 calendar, as most teams tend to bring major updates to their cars, and 2019 is no exception. Ferrari have brought forward their latest power unit upgrade by an entire month in a bid to try and close the gap to Mercedes. I'm sure it's going to help, but I thought Ferrari's issue was with aero rather than power, but we'll see. The team did also confirm that they will be adding to their aero package that debuted in Baku. Frankly, this is a big weekend for Ferrari. Helmut Marko has said that Red Bull's cornering issues should be solved this weekend as the team fit what Marko called the aerodynamic solution to their cars. He also claimed that Renault are the reason they have struggled with their aero problems at the first 4 races. Blaming the lack of engine performance which forced Red Bull to focus on an efficient design. He just won't let it go, will he? McLaren reckon there could be a major reshuffle in the midfield in Spain as the development war kicks into gear. They will obviously bring their own updates, but Haas are set to bring what Gunther Steiner called significant upgrades to their cars, and many other teams will likely follow that trend. In fact, Williams have even said that they've managed to clear that backlog they had and will be making changes in Spain. It is also worth mentioning that Renault have had an internal reshuffle which has resulted in the creation of 3 new management positions at the team. However, despite a difficult start to the season, the changes are focused more on the 2021 rule changes, although I'm sure they will have an impact elsewhere. Right then, despite the fact that I am absolutely terrible at them, you guys have been asking me to bring predictions back to these previews. So, I'm going to start with a sort of form guide and then finish that off with a few of my predictions ahead of this weekend. Now, since 2014, the Spanish Grand Prix has been very much a Mercedes track, with the team taking pole position at every event, and they've only failed to win the race once since 2014, and that was, of course, back in 2016. Now, obviously, that doesn't all mean that they're going to run away with it this weekend, but in terms of driver form in Spain, Lewis Hamilton has taken 4 of the last 5 pole positions and won 3 of the last 5 races around the Barcelona circuit. Sebastian Vettel, on the other hand, though, has never been on pole position in Spain. I had to triple check that, I couldn't quite believe it, and has only ever won there once, and that was back in 2011. Clearly not one of his favourite tracks. Valtteri Bottas, though, does tend to go well, taking his first podium in Barcelona last year, and even scored consistently with Williams, making it into the top 5 in 2014, 15 and 16. Charles Leclerc grabbed the final points paying position last year for Sauber, and of course Pierre Gasly was taken out on that first lap by Romain Grosjean. Max Verstappen took his first F1 win at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix and made it onto the podium last season as well. Interestingly though, they are the only 2 times Max has scored at the circuit. And quickly looking through and picking a few out from the rest of the field, Daniel Ricciardo has a 100% finish rate in Spain and has actually only failed to score once. Carlos Sainz, however, has never failed to score in Barcelona, with his best finish being 6th, and Sergio Perez has finished 9th 4 times in Spain and has only failed to score twice in 8 races there. So what about my predictions then? Well, with the way Mercedes have started the season and their past form at the track, I really can't see this going any other way than a Mercedes pole and win. And based on that past form, Lewis Hamilton is surely the favourite to take that win. I feel like Max Verstappen has the potential to spring a surprise, especially if Red Bull have sorted those cornering issues out, so I'm finding it really tough to call the final 2 podium places, but I'm going to put Sebastian Vettel on the podium and between the 2 Mercedes as well. Look, I do think Ferrari will be stronger this weekend, and let's be honest, although the Silver Arrows have grabbed those 4 consecutive 1-2 finishes, the Scuderia haven't exactly been a million miles away, plus they need a result this weekend. So this isn't me, as some might put it, falling for the Ferrari have the fastest car narrative, or whatever you want to call it. I just feel like the pace is clearly there in that car, as we saw in Bahrain, as we saw at times in Baku, and at some point they've got to put the weekend together. And when it comes to my one to watch, well, I'm going to go with Carlos Sainz. It is his home Grand Prix after all. And of course, if reports are to be believed, this could be the circuit's final year on the F1 calendar for a while. So he will be eager to impress one last time in front of his home crowd, and as already covered, he also has really good form in Spain. And if you throw into that mix that excellent result last time out in Baku, as well as that McLaren appearing to be surprisingly strong in that midfield, he could be on for a very solid result. I don't know why, but with the low expectations around the Spanish Grand Prix, I think it will be closer than perhaps some are predicting and might get quite interesting. If you add to that all the upgrades and the shake-up that could cause, we might just be looking at a very tight fight between the top 6 drivers and a real mix-up in that midfield. That is it then for the Spanish Grand Prix preview, and in the comments section down below you can let me know your predictions for this weekend. Who's going to take pole position, who do you reckon will win, and which driver is your one to watch? Now, I will be back soon with more content as ever, but in the meantime, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.